Good day, lovely people. We are in the second quarter of the year 2021, and we at Odomankoma Maritime News Agency have made it a point to bring to you another very well-seasoned guest, who of course is a household name in the GH maritime industry. Last quarter, we brought to you a veteran mariner, Captain Hazel, who shared with us her life experiences, took us through her experience on board vessels, etc. But this quarter, we're switching it up a bit. We're bringing to you one of those who calls the shots on land. So if you're as excited as I am to meet our guest for today, have a week. Okay, so here we are at the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, particularly in the office of the president of the institute, Mr. Eddy Akrong, the president of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, is our guest for today. Thank you so much, sir, for having us. So we are very aware you were a council member of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders before moving up to becoming the president. We believe that must be, like, it took a lot of hard work and consistency to be able to get to that point. We're going to delve a little bit deeper into that in the course of the conversation, but for now, I want you to take us through your background, how you started. You walk us through your life before you entered freight forwarding.
Okay. Alright, so basically you mentioned my name. The name is Eddy Akrong. I was born and bred in Takrady. Grew up my whole life, basically. So went to schools there, services primary school, secondary college, and then the Takrady Polytechnic. And but interestingly enough, right away, right after the Polytechnic, I did the diploma in business studies there, and actually took a secretarial option. And so I just happened to I had a family friend who was a clearing agent, and he's a former customs officer. His name was BKO Jackson. He's passed away, so rest in peace. So BKO Jackson took a liking to me and said to me, right from school you have to come work with me. So basically, I just walked out of school on a Friday, on a Monday I walked into his office and said, that's it. That began my journey, because he was a clearing agent and he was a former customs officer. So basically that's where I started. I got my training actually, and then began, picking up interest in this particular,
But before meeting him, when you were growing up, what did you want to be a future?
Trust me, I wanted to be a lawyer. My whole growth thing. I was interested in law, still love it law, and that's all I wanted to do. But then I think, life is not what we make of it.
Yeah,
Sometimes there's a diversion.
I believe you're very outspoken too. Like, being a lawyer would have really fit you.
So that would have been nice, but still not late.
Yeah, not late at all. I mean, it's going to take a few years. Yeah, it's
yeah.
Anyways, can you please take us through how your day, like a typical day of work, is like?
Basically, so it was a lot. The other things. First of all, I am a freight forwarder myself, so I run my own business, and then also there's only way you can become a member of the institute, and then through that I become the president. So basically, it's apart from problem solving stuff. If you look at our constitution, basically it tells you the things that we have to do. So I basically have to run this whole operation, solving issues, representing the association, all facets of live meetings that I would have to attend on behalf of the association, and then the decisions to be taken. We also have a strategic plan that we'll have to run, so we're trying to look at all of this.
So does working here take a toll on your mental health sometimes? Because being in charge of an outfit where most grievances pass through, yes, that doesn't affect you in any way.
You know what? Sometimes you're only human, so at some point it will get to you. But the Americans have been saying, if you love what you do, you never work in a day. So basically, I enjoy what I do. Of course, it will take a toll sometimes when there are heavy hitters, coming left and right. So it will take a toll sometimes.
So, speaking earlier in the year, somewhere in January, in an interview, you spoke about shipping line charges being on top of your agenda for the year 2021.
Right.
How is that going so far?
See, I tell you what, I'm from the old school. I started doing this in 1984. Okay? I have seen the steady rise. If I give you a background to the shipping line issue, okay? The thing is this. Back in the 80s, around that time, we had a lot of deficiencies in the port as regards equipment-wise, all that. Now, there was the advent of containerization. What used to happen was that all the cargoes that you see around, now we see containers.
Yes.
But back in the day, these were all coming in packages and loose cargoes that were put on board vessels at the bottom. And so there was not much for need of heavy equipment, like the top lifters you see now, ship to shore, cranes and all that you see at the ports right now. And so it wasn't, and so you needed a lot of longshore men, carrying packages, hooks and tackles and nets and all that, and just taking them to the warehouse. But then that changed with the advent of containerization. And so we were not very ready for it. Okay? So the shipping lines then, in a bit to, work on their turnaround time. When I say turnaround time, when vessels are on the sea, then that's when they say they make money. If they are, stationary now. Okay? So they would rather want to increase their turnaround time. So, in order to do that, they tried purchasing their own machines, bigger forklifts, to be able to upload their vessels, so do the stevedoring themselves. Now, this was the core business of our ports, of the Ports and Harbours Authority. But because they were doing that, I think the government saw sense in the fact that they had to give them some leeway to charge a fee, a maintenance fee. At least they had to maintain the machines they were doing, and then they were also saving us the stevedoring charges. So then they had to charge a fee. So I think the fee was as low as $10. But until then, prior to that, you didn't pay any charges if you were going to clear. The idea is this, that if you've paid freight is supposed to cover all the charges locally, what we call, fuel costs, everything, currency depreciation costs, everything is factored into freight. There could be issues like demurrage, but that's another matter. If I keep your equipment for more than, an estimated time, okay? So this was the beginning. Where are we right now? These costs have skyrocketed, and you find all sorts of costs have been put into. You pick up an invoice now, and you could see 12 to 13 line different items. I could name all of them, from ISPS, container cleaning, demurrage is there, administrative charges are there. Okay. Now, what is the source of all these fees and charges when you have already collected the freight from me? Okay, so the idea is that if you take your freight, I am done with you. Now we have to look at this in the light of a whole lot of things: cost of doing business in our ports, and how this is going to affect us. We want our ports to be attractive. You understand? And so that is the whole reason we thought. And per our constitution, this is what asks us to do: that we should be in the forefront of fighting for these things. Make sure our ports are viable, they are cost effective. And then it will bring the whole country's, focus on how we want to move these ports and move the industry. So our ports will be, a better place for doing business.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned you started in 1984.
1984.
Wow, that's a very long time. You were really experienced in this. But again...
So I didn't start off as a but I started as a secretary to a clearing agent. And well, that's where my training started.
During the agitation due to shipping lines incremental charges, the Importers and Exporters Association called on the minister designate at the time to set up an authority to solely regulate the operations of the international shipping lines. Do you really think there's a need for it?
I don't think so, really. We already have those things in place. We have the Ghana Maritime Authority in place. We have the Ghana Shippers Authority in place. There are laws that would streamline every action that they take, anything that they do. In fact, the Ghana Maritime Authority was in the process of setting up a cabotage. There's a cabotage law. It's still not out yet. We hope this could come to play. Okay? But until then, If you look at the LI, the Ghana Shippers Authority LI, it tells you exactly what anybody has to do. That if you want to increase any fee, bring about any fee in this industry, you would have to sit and negotiate this with the Ghana Shippers Authority. As we speak, we as freight forwarders, if we have to bring out our tariffs for the year, say this is how much we charge for clearing a 20-footer or a 40-footer, we'll have to necessarily sit down with the Ghana Shippers Authority to negotiate our rates. And so then these rates could be put out. Why not the shipping lines? And why are they refusing to do that? Now they're coming up with all sorts of excuses saying that, making it look like there's a certain lacuna in the law, but I do not believe there is any. It is a straightforward thing. If you say some of the surcharges or the charges that you are charging are part of the freight, then do not charge them here. Okay? You're taking it up there at the point of shipment. When I hand you over that container, tell me this is it. Look, if you go pick up an export invoice from any of these shipping lines now in Ghana, I'm sending something to, let's say, to the UK. Okay? This is a port of loading. I go to the shipping line. The invoice they give me will tell me what the freight is, and exactly on that same document tell me how much I am going to pay when these cargoes arrive at the destination. Nothing else to it. So once I agree to it, I make those payments. I tell my the one who's going to expect the cargo there, this is what you are expected to pay to the shipping line when your goods arrive. Plain, right? Plain and simple. Now we do not do that. We do not do that when these cargoes are coming to our port. So at that point, they have taken all the freight. Okay, it's so we have different types of services. But the kind of service, the most popular one that runs on our coast here. So when these goods are coming, it's like going to pick a taxi. Or a trotro, you're going from Circle to Nima, or from Circle to Medina. So I get into the trotro. The trotro driver tells me that going from Circle to Medina is 2 cedis 50 pesos or 5 Ghana cedis. I said I've agreed to pay, so I said it. Now, would it horrify you if we get to Medina and then the trotro driver tells me that before you get off this bus, the local union here, the drivers union here, say that there's a certain surcharge. So before you get off, pay another 50 pesos. Or the boys who load goods into the trucks, they have a certain, so before you get off, pay another. You can imagine the chaos when you arrive at the trotro station in Medina. Now this is what is happening. So you get here and really you do not have a handle on what the next charge is. Okay? Shipping lines have their own exchange rates. We have a whole list of things that we think should be done. And very soon we're coming out as to what we're going to do. We're going to have a press conference to tell the world as to what is going on. Because we need to live up, the noise levels. If not, they're going to take us for a ride.
How did we get here? Because that really makes me...
Now this is the part that kills me, because I am not starting this. If my forebears have put a lot of pressure, they've tried. Okay? Somehow we've got me and I realized that they have taken us for granted. Okay? I'm not saying I'm going to be the end, but we need to pick up the pressure to make sure whatever the wrong is being right. Whatever has gone wrong, we make it right. Okay? There have to be concessions and make sure that the right thing is done. This cannot continue. And trust me, we're getting the support of all the traders unions, from FABAC, from Guta, TAG, all of them.
Wow.
Yes.
That's going to be massive.
Yes, it is.
Alright, so on our reports, you mentioned that you as freight forwarders, the scope of your operations goes way beyond the customs and house agents.
Yes.
Can you please elaborate on that?
See, the word freight forwarding itself is, we're total logisticians. Okay? That's another way of putting it. In our terminology, we say we are architects of transport. So freight forwarding is massive. It covers a whole lot of fields. from warehousing, transport, trucking, the real maritime thing, the clearing, what we call clearing. And basically we call clearing agents. I don't have a thing with it. I'll just have to explain that. What we call clearing, the customs house business, is just a minute part of the total thing we do. Okay? So that today, if you sit here and decide that you want to bring one box from Kazakhstan, you're my client. I in turn have to figure out how I get that box from Kazakhstan to you in your home. Okay? Now that is the real work of total, the freight forwarder, because then I figure out what best means to use, whether I use rail from Kazakhstan to this point and go by inland waterway to that point and go by air to this point. How I get that to you does not matter to you. That is what matters to me. So I am the architect of that kind of transport, including coming to do the customs brokerage part, which is the clearing. Okay?
Yeah.
And so this is how they see it, but like I'm saying, there is more to it than just what you see. And this has developed over the years. Okay? All right. So, and if you look at our name also, we put the institute in there. The Institute of Freight Forwarding means that we have an education department, we have a school, and we train our members, to do all this. So it's not just the clearing part, but there are people who are just, into maybe taking care of hazardous goods. They're specialists in how to transport hazardous goods. Yeah, people who are just specialists in warehousing, trucking. That's it. So total of it, the totality is the freight forwarding. So the clearing bit is what has, but we are known more for that because that's the point where you move the goods out of the port and take to your client. So also we're fine with it, we're clearing agents, but that's why, the reason for the freight forwarding thing, there's more to it than just that.
Do you get paid sometimes when the layman just calls you a clearing agent just because you...
No, trust me. Trust me, it doesn't bother me at all. Okay? Except the education has to go on for them to know, I'm a clearing agent, I'm a clearing agent. But then the education has to go on for them to know that there is more to it. It's a bit more sophisticated than just that. Because, of course, like we're saying, people will sit back and think, why are these people? So, if it's just a matter of filling some forms and, getting the stuff out of the port, then why is it that I can't do it? So I said, well, you try. You think it's all fine until you have a case in court, and then when you go there, they're going to speak their Greek and you don't understand. Habeas corpus or do you not taught them? Then you know that they need a lawyer, right? So, so that is the thing. I think it's continuous education to educate the public also to let them know.
And this is actually a few miscreants. So I'd like you to give us a few tips on how to identify a very legitimate freight forwarder so we don't fall into...
So basically, I'm very concerned about this. One of the prerequisites of becoming, first of all, it has to be a registered company.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to slide in this one. If you look at section 43 of Act 891, which is the customs law, it says that the company has to be fully Ghanaian owned. Yeah? Okay. That's it. Once you are registered, then you can apply to customs. Yeah. To apply to customs, you need to have customs proficiency license certificate. Okay, and then that is a certificate. And then customs can give you, the commission can give you the license to operate. Okay. Now, one of the prerequisites of having this license is that you need to have an office set up so that if the commissioner wants to look for you today, he can walk into your office. So this is my office number 2, so and so Biashit Street. Okay, this is the office. So it is imperative that anybody you deal with who says they are freight forwarders or they are clearing agents, please just make a little effort of doing some due diligence. Okay, walk into the office. If you have a problem, I can also only speak for the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarding because there are other associations. Okay, we know we're big and we know we are in the front line. The thing is this, you could always walk into our offices also. We have 6 districts that we operate from Manubo, Takrady, Aflao, KIA, which is the airport, Tema, and then Sunyani, which is our latest. Pretty soon we're going into Paga. So what we're saying is that if you have a problem, if you're dealing with somebody, you're not too sure, walk into any of our offices or call any of our hotlines or call any of our lines that you want to find out. I want to know, is a QPJ company is a member of Giff? Is he in good standing? Who am I dealing with? I mean, I'm dealing with this person. Easy. Do due diligence. Because it is very serious to just hand over monies and documents. And these documents are legal. Somebody could just pick your cargo with these documents and then they're gone. You know there are miscreants in the system and there have been sad situations like we don't want this to happen. So please, take advantage of our offices, do due diligence, do some checks. At least walk into the offices and find out who runs this company. So I can be sure if there is a problem, I am going to walk in.
So, apart from being the Giff president, which we are very well aware of, what other positions or businesses do you run?
Okay, so like I said, I am a freight forwarder myself. I'm a clearing agent too. So I have my own company that is on the side. I also do farming. I'm into farming. So those are the things I do.
Livestock or?
No, cocoa.
Cocoa?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Anyways, do you have any advice to the youth who might be considering entering into this particular industry? What should they look out for?
Trust me. The first stop, like I said, we do have a training school. And we run it all the way from the certificate level, certificate, to a diploma, and then the higher national diploma. So if you want to get it, if you just out of SHS, you can walk into our certificate courses. We have our education officers here. You can contact them. They will take you through all the courses that we run. We're running very serious models, and trust me, it will really prepare you for the future. Not necessarily to do, clearing, okay, which is where the focus is. But there are lots of, I'm saying there are lots of things you could do. You could just specialize in, handling hazardous cargo. You find very few people who are competent in doing that, okay? And we've had most people come into our school who are logistics managers in different companies. There's so many things you can do with it. So I think it would be the first step. Just contact our education department and get it. I'm sure you.
In your opinion, is this a very lucrative venture for them to enter into?
Lucrative. Look, for me, it's what I do. I love it. So, I think it's good. It's taking me through my life. I don't want to look back at all. So, you can make your own guesses on that.
Okay. Thank you so much for having us here. All too soon, we've come to the end of our very little interview. So.